Hello, welcome to the Cyborg here at the StarCityGames.com Players Championship 2016 edition. I'm Nick Miller alongside Player of the Year, Tom Ross. This is your third Players Championship. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. Yeah, good as I ever be. Happy to be here again. It was an easier path than last year. I barely squeaked in last year, but it was kind of smooth. They only got in season 2. And, yeah, season 3 worked out, too. It was kind of cool.
Wrecked most of the seasons. Won 3 opens this year. We're going to talk about the third open you won with Green-White Tron, because that is the deck we're talking about today in Modern. This is the deck you're bringing to the Players Championship. Did you think people were going to put you on it after the success you had with it?
There was a chance. I mean, the chance they put me on this, they put me on Infect. I mean, I played a bunch of decks in Modern. I played like 8-rack a little bit. Played like Zoo last year. So, I don't know. I thought like it'd be a known quantity, but it's a little bit tough to play against it, I guess. You could play with Crumble Dust and Fulminator Mage or something, but deck can fight around that, so I'm happy with it. I had a lot of success at the Modern Open. I think I should have played at the Invitational too, the Season 3 one. But
yeah, you absolutely slaughtered the Open, and obviously hindsight's 2020. But if you had played, Tron instead of Infect at the Invitational, you had a bunch of good matchups for that deck as well. So
yeah, I got slaughtered by Jund twice with my Infect deck, and yeah, I was wishing I played it again. I had such a good win percentage with it in the Open.
All right, well, you get to take it here into the Players' Championship. Modern is part of day 1, so let's start taking a look at the deck. We're going to look at kind of the payoff cards here for Tron. We're going to move on to the Planeswalkers after this, but you got your Eldrazi's, you got Ulamog, Worldbreaker, 1 Wormcoil Engine. These are kind of interesting selections at one-ofs.
Yeah, Worldbreaker's best against Affinity, which I didn't really expect too much of. And it's not great in multiples anyway. It's kind of awkward. It's more of a turn 4 card than turn 3, even if you have Tron. Wormcoil Engine is best against Burn, but not great against most random stuff, I guess. I thought there'd be a lot of like Infect and Dredge here. It's fine against Dredge, but not the best. So yeah, I just slimmed on those and added a little bit more cheaper cards, as we'll see later.
Yeah, we'll move on here. You got 2 Ulamogs, really good, but then of course your heavy hitters here, Karn and Ugin. These are kind of the cards you want to be ramping into. Karn especially, you can hit on turn 3.
Yeah, Karn's a staple. It's what you're aiming for on turn 3. The whole deck is designed to get Tron on turn 3 with the Expedition Maps and the Sylvan Scryings and the Ancient Stirrings. Playing 1 Spellskite, just a fine bridge card. Again, maybe there's a lot of Infect. It's kind of good blocker too against like Parazzi Amalgam, whatever. Don't really tutor forward or anything. It's just kind of just there as a card. Playing 3 Ugin, that's uncommon. Usually play 2. But I believe the Ugin and Oblivion Stone slot is kind of interchangeable, and I'm erring more toward Ugin. It's better against sweeping against Dredge, better against like the mid-rangey decks like Jund. It's bad against like Bantal Eldrazi and Affinity, but those aren't decks that this field plays, so I'm bumping up the Ugin numbers and I'm bumping down the Oblivion Stone numbers slightly.
Okay, we'll start moving on here through the rest of the deck. You've got 1 Talisman, and then, as you mentioned, 2 Oblivion Stone here. You kind of trim the numbers there to get more Ugin, and then Relic. One of the few decks that get to play main deck Graveyard Hate like this.
Yeah, Relic of Progenitus used to be a staple in the Tron decks. It got slimmed later on, but I always believe that Tron is a deck that's capable of playing Relic main, and it's one of the reasons I play Tron in the first place, because you have that like privilege. Talisman of Unity, like no one played the red-green Talisman, the red-green Tron deck, mainly because of Oblivion Stone. It's like a non-bow with Oblivion Stone, gets swept up with it. But this version is a little bit more capable of playing it. Ever since Ugin got printed, I think getting up to 8 mana on turn 3 is a little more important. So I'm playing Talisman Unity. Later we'll see a Gemstones Caverns in my deck. So a deck has 2 ways to play an Ugin on turn 3 or an Oblivion Stone and pop it on turn 3. Also, I have more single mana spells. Along with Ancient Stirrings at Path to Exile, so I can play it on turn 2 and then like actually play a spell too.
Right, kind of a 2-spell turn here along with ramp. All right, moving on to the rest of the cards here. We've got your spheres and your stars, which kind of allow you to filter through your deck, create the mana you need, and then Expedition Map here. These cards are all key in assembling Tron.
Yeah, just so much redundancy here. It's the sphere and the star key to play a Tron piece on turn 1, then another Tron piece on turn 2 along with Ancient Stirrings. So you don't need the green mana to play your finding cards, your filter cards, whatever. So you can like assemble Tron on turn 3 without needing color matter or anything.
Right, and then we'll continue finding the cards that we need here. We're going to have Ancient Stirrings, we're going to have Sylvan Scrying here on the next page.
Yeah,
these cards are just kind of the reason green is in the Tron deck, so you can find all your pieces.
Yeah, Ancient Stirring is probably the best what filter card I guess there is in Modern. Like they banned Preordain and Ponder, but this card's still legal.
Yeah.
So
the best cantrip in Modern is a green.
Yeah, it has to be the best cantrip. It's close to like Demonic Tutor a lot of times, just for 1 mana. And then of course Sylvan Scrying finds whatever I need, the Tron piece, or like some bullet lands. I have a Horizon Canopy in there. I have a Sanctum of Ugin. So.
Path to Exile, kind of the reason you're playing the white splash, because we've seen a bunch of people mess around with different types of builds. We've seen Joe in the past try green-black. We've seen, green-red, green-white. Every color you can bounce with green. White gives you Path to Exile and then cards out of the sideboard.
Yeah, Path is known as the best white card in Modern. Maybe even the reason to play white, like people play Abzan instead of Jund because of Path to Exile mainly. Yeah, it's the best thing you can have against things like Infect. It's kind of just bridges your early game to your late game. It's like good like 1, 2, 3 play, whatever. Make sure you just don't die. It doesn't matter how much land they have usually, because you're doing more powerful things than they could do with their mana anyway. It's also good with Ghost Quarter because you kind of just run them out of basics.
Right. Not a lot of people have a bunch of basics, and Path is the reason you have the white splash, because you need it to beat the super aggressive decks, Infect, Death Shadow, stuff like that.
Yeah, those are notoriously bad matchups for Tron, but I don't believe those matchups are good, but they're more tolerable now. Mm-hmm. Like I have a good fighting chance.
All right, moving on here, we'll see the rest of the deck. Tron, the reason the deck is called this, you have your Urzatron set of lands, and then we're going to see kind of your utility lands here as well, and the rest of the slides here between Ghost Quarter, Horizon Canopy, Gemstone Cavern. This is a card that got a lot of buzz in the 2014 Players' Championship when Joe Lissette and Ken Ketter brought a Reanimator deck with a bunch of this in Legacy. You're kind of expanding the horizons of Gemstone Caverns here. You have one in the main and one in the board.
Yeah, I think it's a misunderstood card. I think it should be played more than it is. This is the perfect deck for it because it doesn't need colored mana, but it's definitely acceptable when you have it. It's also a deck that wants to accelerate as fast as possible. Like the cards in the hand are kind of you don't really need 7 cards to win. Like you really only need like 4 cards. You need like perfect like Tron, or if you have like 3 of the Tron pieces plus a whatever Karn, that's like a 4-card Karn that can just win the game. So the card that you exile is usually something that's redundant. And it's not bad just to draw the card. You have plenty of uses for colorless mana. You're not leaning on the color of the luck counter or whatever. But it's just happy to have it in my opening hand. I'm usually probably going to side it out when I'm on the play. There's the second one in the sideboard for when I'm on the draw. Yeah, I think I've sided in like half the time, so seems like a good sideboard card.
All right, you're definitely someone who's experimented with the on-the-draw strategies in Modern. Of course, 8-Rack is a deck where you're always on the draw, but now having stuff like Gemstone's Caverns when you're on the draw, giving you a little more game, it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I could play I play like Path to Exile on their turn before I even get a turn. I could also play Sylvan Scrying on turn 1. Yeah, it's just another way to play that turn 3 Ugin or whatever.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to the rest of the deck here. You've got your Ugin Sanctum, so you can kind of find your Eldrazi's when you need them. And then, of course, your green and white mana here, Razorverge Thicket and Forest.
Yeah, I won a second Forest. I kind of missed it. I didn't play a second Forest in, what was it, Columbus?
Mm-hmm.
But, it's useful whenever they get Ghost Quarter and Path to Exile, things like that. It happens post-board. I want to, be able to naturally cast my spells a lot of time. They'll be attacking my mana a lot of times with things like Crumble of Dust, and the cards out on the board like Thrag Tusk or like castable spells, even if I don't have the natural Tron. I'm playing like one Razorverge Thicket, which is kind of weird, but the first one's the best one. Any hand that has 2 of them was kind of weak, I think, because you only want to play one green source or one green or white source, and after that you just want to play Tron pieces. So I'm kind of low on the white mana count, I think, but kind of upped it a little bit. Gemstone Caverns is part of a white source, and
right.
Talisman Unity is a white source too. But I don't think I need that much white anyway.
Sure. Moving through the rest of the deck, we're going to see the sideboard here. Nature's Claim, Thragtusk, these cards are very good. Blessed Alliance is the other reason kind of you're playing white. Gives you more game against Infect, Death Shadow, those types of things. Burn as well.
Yeah, not playing a ton of them. Do want them against Infect, not expecting much burn, so I cut one of them. Also, I'm not playing as many white spells as I was before because my white sources are a little bit lower than the main deck, so I'm trying to play, more castable spells, I guess.
Thragtusk, great for just, having more threats, gaining a bunch of life against burn and stuff like that. Claim, good against a lot of the hate cards.
Yeah, you need against Blood Moon and Stony Silence or whatever. It's also just great against Affinity if it ever shows up. Passable against Infect. Just the best thing you can be doing. You don't really care how much life they have when you're playing Tron deck.
Yep. Next couple of cards here. Another Path to Exile, another Ghost Quarter, and then Warping Whale here, another kind of fun removal spell that the Tron deck has got since the Eldrazi have taken over.
Yeah, it's an acceptable removal spell against Infect, of course. It also sometimes counters Cathartic Reunion. It's mainly there to sideboard in the dark against anything that's red because you want some defense against Crumble of Dust. So that just basically comes in against any deck that's capable of casting that card against you. Path to Exile replaces the Blessed Alliance cells in my board. I had 3 before, but now I only have 2 Blessed Alliance. But I wanted to play the 4th Path. I thought it was a mistake not to play it before. A lot of other green-white Tron decks play all 4 in the main deck, and I really just wanted access to the 4th one. Ghost Quarter comes in against decks that have creature lands, whether it be Moth Nexus or Raging Ravine. It also just ups my land count whenever I expect my land base to get attacked.
Sure. And then, of course, the next page here, you're going to have another Gemstone Cavern. Oh, we'll see that on the last slide. But then kind of your more flex slot, you got Grafter's Cage, rest in peace here for Graveyard Hate, and then another Oblivion Stone. Of course, you move the one from the main over here.
Yeah, so I have a total of 6 sweepers I could have after sideboard. This Oblivion Stone is better against colorless decks, I guess.
Where Ugin doesn't shine.
Yeah, where Ugin doesn't shine. Bountiful Draw, Zero Affinity. I want access to it. It's also good against decks that aren't really killing me super fast, but I play a lot to the board. Say something like a Lantern Control deck or something. That's probably the best card you could have. It's also good against the Blood Moon decks. You can play it on turn 3 and crack it on turn 5, even if you have no colored mana, except for mountains in play. A little bit low on Graveyard Hate in the sideboard. I had 3 Rest in Peace before, now I only have 1. I want 1 definitely against a lot of decks. Against John, any Tarmogoyf deck, I want 1. Like a lot of Snapcatcher decks, I want exactly 1. So the other 2 only came in against basically Dredge. I'm playing 3 Relic main now, so I don't need as much sideboard hate. I'm playing a Cage, which is of course good against Dredge as well, but also hits Elves, which Liam Lonergan may play. Mm-hmm. So just a little bit of a hedge. My deck's a little bit faster too, with the Talisman Unity and the Gemstone Caverns. So my plan against Dredge is more try to get that Ugin. Like a lot of hands might lean on getting an early Ugin in play instead of attacking the graveyard.
Okay. All right. So why do you think this deck was a good choice for this event?
It seemed to be maybe a lot of John, maybe a lot of Dredge. I think I'm passable in the Infect matchup. It's just kind of a safe deck. This is the safest deck I'm playing. Mm-hmm. It seems tough to V has success with it. It seems like a shame to put it down when I did. Of course, people will expect me to be playing it to some degree, but I think it's just too good to pass up.
Right, and I think as you mentioned at the start of this, you've played a bunch of decks to success in Modern. They have to put you on one of them, but you have a wide variety of decks that you've had success with. So
yeah, I was close to playing 8-rack too, but couldn't pull a trigger on that one. I think this deck is just better. All
right, well, this is your 3rd Players Championship. You're looking to take down title here. This was the only one you're kind of missing from the SCG Tour resume, so we wish you the best of luck. Tom Ross, Player of the Year here in 2016.